Hey, what's up? Cory here, just bringing you a short video today. Gonna look at some guitar production for a new Backwordz track called the Great Equalizer. And I'm gonna show you how I got the tones, and I'm gonna show you some creative stuff that I did to help your guitar stand out, just to, do something different. So I'll play a few sections of the song that we're gonna look at. So we're gonna start here. We're also going to take a look at the chorus. We're going to check out the intro. And then we're gonna check out this pre-breakdown part here. So let's just start over here. A little backstory to the song is we recorded this in either 2015 or 2016 to be a part of Backwordz' first album, Veracity. And this song just didn't make it. It wasn't the right timing for it to come out, but we knew we loved the track and we knew it was going to come back. So, and here it is. So I had a reamp for these guitars, but when I looked back to mix the song, I just didn't like the way it sounds. So in quarantine, because my ceiling in my studio collapsed and I've been doing a remodel, I don't have all my gear. I don't have my amps to do the reamps to make a new tone. So I was at first I was struggling. I sent a couple mixes back, and everyone was fine with the mix. Me and the guitar player were both like, hey, the guitars just they're weird sounding. I was trying to use some amp sims. I couldn't get what I wanted. So Kevin, the guitar player, just got a Kemper. So I asked him if he would do some reamps for me, which he did. And I listened through them, and he sent me maybe 5 tones, and I listened through and I liked these two, a stiletto and a triple rec. Both of these tones are my old Protone Attack Overdrive into the amp. So this one's a triple rec, this one's a stiletto, both into my Mesa cab, and I profiled these a few years ago, and I've kind of sold them here and there to people. So if you like these and you're interested in the tones, write me a comment or write me an email. So let's listen to these with no processing. We'll start with the triple rec was the one that stood out to me. I really liked the way this sounded. Turn this off. So lots of low end, a nice, really bitey sound. And it's a little scooped. It sounds really big. And then I listen to these stiletto guitars. And it's a lot of that mid-range that I thought the triple rec was missing. Now I don't think it would have make or break the song if it weren't there. But let's hear them together. So you can hear how blending them together made the sound more full. I was more happy with that, with them blend together. So that's just the left DI is both of these. The right DI is both of these. It's the same DI. It's not quad tracked. It's just dual tracked rhythms. So let's go through the mixing of these real quick. I love this CQ, and I've been using it a lot lately. So I'll flip it on. A little bit of drive, so you're hearing a little volume jump, but you know, I added 8 dB of the low, 2.5 at 700 hertz, which is not somewhere I typically would be adding in guitars, but this EQ sounds so great. I boosted it thinking that I was going to cut it, so I'll show you. How much should I do? 2.5. I really thought I was going to cut it, but I left it there, and it sounded great. And then I added 3 dB about of high. So one more time with and without. It's a little sweetening. There's a lot of fizz though, so what I did with this Pro Q is I you know, did my high pass, did my low pass, 12K, 90 hertz, and then I took some of this junk out. I'll show you just on the left guitar. So it helps focus the sound a little bit. And that sounded great. Let's look at the stiletto guitars, what I did. I started with Pro Q and just did a little bit of, you know, upper mid cut, almost 2K. Just more mids than CQ. Adding that 700 hertz again. Less low end, but more high end. So just making it a little more hi-fi, and then a big volume jump here. And all together. I sent these to an aux track here just so I could try out Ozone Limiter? Not Limiter. Imager, where I got a little width. Not a big difference, but I'm trying to get them out of the middle, trying to get them outside. And then Little Radiator, one of my favorite plugins for guitars. They were going so loud into this that I had to turn the heat down actually a little bit and mixed it in about 70%. Not doing a ton, but one of my favorite plugins for guitar, like I said. And then I have all my main auxes here. And on the guitar, I just did a little more EQ shaping. It helped clean up this area and the lows. So that's our main guitar sound. So let's move to the chorus. This is something I did have a reamp for. I'll play a little bit of the chorus for you first. So big, just big open guitars and some octaves. This is something I did like the reamp for, so I'll play these raw for you. Just a gate to cut out amp noise. You can see a little bit of noise there. So let's listen to this. So you can hear it's I couldn't tell you what amp this is or what the tone is, but I know that the guitar was played into an octave pedal into the amp. Well, we probably just recorded DIs, but we definitely used octave pedal, and you can hear the octave pedal goes off during these sections. But what we're getting here is just this big octave guitar sound to lay under the rhythm guitars. So back to CQ here. Adding a little low, adding a ton of 1.5K and a ton of highs, 13 decibels of high end, and then we're adding some drive, and this is crazy sounding. So just super explosive guitar sound. It's not the main guitar track, it's just a backup to the main guitar track, so we can go a little overboard with how it sounds. I think it's obviously too much, so I'll put a pretty healthy high pass and low pass on here, 5.5K at 150. So still getting that really deep sound, but not just cluttering the low end. So let's hear this in and out with the rhythm guitar. I think the song would have lived without it, but when it's not there, you really miss it. So this was something that I added to the song that I thought was pretty crucial. You want the chorus to be your big moment. You want the chorus to be the biggest part of the song, and this is something that helped add bigness and fullness to this chorus. Alright, so let's run back to the beginning. In the demo of this song, the beginning of this was these are just DIs. It was just static with this beat that comes in. I really wanted to kind of spice it up a little bit and not just let it be normal. So let's take a look. This one does stay static through the intro. And what I did was, on the DI, I wanted these little roughs to be really choppy. So I got this gate, cutting them off. And then I just used this UAD rat pedal, which I love this plugin. But I didn't add an amp after it, I didn't add a cab after it or anything. I just liked the way this sounded. So you can see that stays static through this whole intro. Just fuzzy and cool. So the other side is the exact same part, but I'll show you what I did to make it kind of creep in. Just got a, tonality Will Putney plug here. Got a guitar tone that sounds good. And to kind of beef it up, I gave it this radiator. But what I did to help set this apart is I did an EQ sweep, and you'll see as it sweeps, halfway through it speeds up so that you get this guitar kind of opening up into the song, because we're going from kind of lo-fi hip-hop drums, we're going with this lo-fi rat pedal guitar, and this is going to open up to set us up for the full band to come in. So you don't really hear it yet. So So it comes in really, really nasty and distorted here at the end, that you know that you're coming into the song. So I'll show you how it sounds in the full song. So you get that build up to the beginning of a song, which is, you know, one way that you can get a song started, get a song going. Let's go to this. I want to play this with the vocal. This guitar part is not that interesting. It's just kind of going into a breakdown. But what Eric did was he wrote the vocals to match what the guitar is playing, more or less, and I thought it made it really cool. So I'll play the part for you real quick.
I don't care that you're scared of a rifle. You don't even know what's a man to say, but
so you can see vocals on the right, guitar on the left, which is something I did on purpose. I really like the way it sounded. So this guitar is just a reamp, no EQ, no nothing. I just like the way it sounded. But I thought it needed more than just that, so I have this track. So it's a little more interesting. Got a gate to start it off. But it's just a reamp, just like the other one. Another CQ really boosting and driving, so we get that kind of explosive sound. Pro Q again, bringing it back in. We want this to be a little lo-fi going into this breakdown, so we leave a little to be, we leave ourselves room to expand. Then I put this room reverb on here, 100% wet, lowest decay, pre-delay off, no attack, no size, so it's really just the smallest room sound you can get, but I wanted this to sound like it was in a room. So it's not just like a direct amp sound. And then I have Pan Man, I have it set to 69 hertz, nice. And that's not in tempo with the song or anything, it's just kind of going at its own pace, just to make this kind of random. So you put those two together and it just kind of opens it up a little bit and makes it a little weird, which is what I wanted. So yeah, I really like doing stuff like that. It's a little weird, it's a little out there, just to set my track apart. I don't want this to sound like everything else. I don't want it to just be static all the way through. You want to create excitement in different ways throughout the track. So that's one way that I did it. I'll show you this little, there's a couple of these throughout the song that are just little transitional guitar parts. So we just created that with Will Putney tonality here to make the guitar tone. It's just a DI again. You can hear it panning, by the way. We did a little pan from, not all the way right, but just sweeping across. A little EQ and a little compression, nothing too crazy. Pro Q doing the sweep. So we're just opening up the EQ. Then we have the Oligarch chorus from Stillwell? Is that the name? And that's really just making a nasty, really fast chorus. Delay is separating them to make the chorusing effect. And then a little radiator to heat it up. I even put the bias switch up, which means more distortion. So just a little transitional guitar piece. Doesn't have to be clean, it's just nasty. Moving into the next part. And I'll finish off by showing you the bass tone, because this was pretty interesting. These were what was in the session already, and it's a Dark Glass B7K and a Sansamp RBI. I don't have the thing that's different for me is I typically have a DI track. That's my low track. But what I did on this is I used the RBI as like an amp-like tone. So I'll show you what it sounds like just raw. So that would be, we ran the bass into a distressor on the way in. And then this would have been right into my RBI, reamped. So I wanted to, there's this kind of thwacky sound. You can hear it really good right there. I just wanted to get rid of that. So really got rid of that some. CQ, my favorite, adding a ton of low end. So what you don't get when you don't use a DI is that big low end. So this is how I did it. It's just boosted. 13 dB of the low end, and you're going to hear it immediately. Also boosted a little bit of mids and lots of highs. You don't necessarily hear the highs because bass isn't really a high-end instrument, but I did. Just get a little more clank to it, which is nice. So I have this set up like I said, like an amp-like tone. I wanted this to be an amp-like tone. And then it's compressed with this UAD LA2A. Really locking it into place level-wise, which is great. And then we have the dark glass, which is typical for me. I love the dark glass. This one pretty distorted. I don't have the B7K anymore, but let me tell you, I miss it. It sounds great. The first thing I did, put a cab. I usually put a cab sim after it. Not always, but like I said, amp-like tone. I know you've heard that in this video once before. Put the bass cab on. Oh no, it's just guitar cab. And then I use the EQ. Get a little more brightness. And then there's a squeaky sound just kind of in the bass tone in general. You see I cut it the same spot. I didn't cut all the low end out of this because I kind of like the way it contributed to the low end with the RBI. It's in phase, so it didn't bother me. A lot of times what you'll want to do is come in here and get all this low end out. I didn't feel like it was necessary for this, so I didn't do it. But you can see how the dark glass adds a lot to the top end of the bass tone, and that's what you end up with. I almost forgot on the bass tone. There is one more thing. Oh, pass it up. This was a big part of the bass mixing for me. Was this Saturn plugin, and that is that, well, first of all, both my low and my mid are boosted, and this one is level, so we're getting low, more mids. But having some of that distortion on the low end really helped fatten it up. And up here I used old tape, driven pretty hard in the mid-range to get us more, you know, I don't want to say presence in the mid-range, but it's more audible. And then old tape on top, just kind of round out the top end. And what I did here is I wanted to focus the low end out of this and push it up towards 100 area. I did a little lower in this song, but I want to push it up a little bit because I don't want to just bog down the low end. And then I focused it downward by cutting some here, so that we're forcing the mids. I mean, we're forcing the low end here. We're forcing it here to get more. So we're just focusing that low end. That was a super important part of the bass tone. So that's a few tips and tricks for you. I'm mixing in quarantine. I'm on my laptop and a UA Aero in the corner of my front living room of my house. I'm not in my studio. I'm wearing headphones to mix everything. So during this time, everyone's got a little something different going on, and I hope everyone gets through this. You know, we're going to get through this together and get back to our normal lives eventually. But if you like this video, give me a like, give me a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If there's other songs you want to see me break down, guitar, drums, anything like that, give me some ideas so that I can get, you know, some more content out. I got time to do this kind of stuff. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Like I said, this is Backwordz, Great Equalizer, and if you're interested in these Kemper tones, send me a comment, send me a message. If you're interested in having something mixed by me, reamped by me, or working with me in the future, my website's www.corybrunnemann.com. And thanks. Have a good one.